No, they're not. Okay guys, story time. So when I was 14 years old, I joined the gym for the first time. It was a really crappy one. It was like a community center in my neighborhood. I think it had like one squat rack, if that even. Either way, so I started training. And between 14 to 18, I probably put on about 15 pounds of weight. And I got bigger, I got better, but it's not that much, to be honest. Like, that's not that spectacular. I've talked about in the past how when you're doing noob gains pretty much meaning that it's the first 1 year of legit training when you can put on crazy amounts of muscle, like really, really fast. We're talking 15, 20, 25 pounds of lean muscle mass. You get more gains in 1 year than you ever will pretty much for the rest of your life. So I didn't really get that, and it kind of sucked. There's a few reasons behind this, and in college I really started to figure this out and understand why that is. So I started to learn and I started to apply this, and pretty much like 4 to 5 months, essentially the summer between first and second year, I started applying this. And then I came back in second year and people looked at me and they were like, holy crap, like what happened to you? You look like a different human being. You look like a different person because you got so much bigger. Now this can be very important to a lot of you guys out there who are hard gainers, people who can't really put on mass that easily. It's very hard for you guys, essentially. You are someone on the ectomorphic side. You're kind of like maybe taller, lankier, younger, whatever it may be. So there are two things I did to fix this problem and to, gain weight very quickly. In fact, I went from like 155 to like 168 during high school, which is like 4 years. And then I went from like 168 to like 180 in a matter of like 4 to 5 months, pretty much retaining the same amount of lean in terms of body fat percentage. So I pretty much put on all this mass, which took me 4 to 5 months, which is the same as what it took me like 3 to 4 years, previously. So it's crazy. The two things I did, number one, I started training properly. Instead of going to the gym and just doing bicep curls all day like I used to, trying to like, am I Arnold yet? Like what's going on? I started training properly with a good training split, focusing on compound lifts like bench, squat, deadlift. That being said, it's good. That was probably like 30 to 40% of my improvement. The other, 60-ish% of the reason for why I improved so much came from proper nutrition. And one of the things that I started doing is taking a mass gainer supplement. This is the first time I've ever done it. I went to Walmart and I picked up the first one that I saw, which is probably a bad idea because it really, I felt, yeah, okay, so, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But I put on a lot of weight and it helped me get bigger, get stronger, get everything. However, I want to mention that it wasn't necessarily the mass gainer supplement specifically which, gave me that improvement. It's the newfound respect and approach towards nutrition, macros, calories, everything, which, led me to going on that supplement because I realized that, like, I can't naturally get this much food by myself. I was too busy with school, all these different things. And so I resorted to that. So it's this new approach I had towards nutrition as a whole, which got me that way. But what I'm trying to show you is that it worked. Because mass gainer supplements are not bullshit. They're just like protein in the sense that they're food. They're pretty much like very fancy, refined, processed versions of food. That's why they have a nutrition label. That's why they have protein, calories, macros, fats. For example, whey protein is just a derivative, a side product of the formation of cheese. And like all these carbs, at least they should be, just versions of like refined and granulated like oats and buckwheat and barley, whatever it may be. Pretty much just food that's been broken down into a supplement, powderized, dehydrated form for you guys to take. That's why I'm okay with, especially food supplements. On the other hand, when you get the supplements which are kind of like weirder, like chemical compounds that, they don't have a nutrition label because there is no calories or protein or nothing in them. It's like weird side products that your body can ingest and it's supposed to have some specific effect and there's like a receptor and it does this. Then it gets a little bit weird. But at the end of the day, there's nothing better than legit food. And the second best thing is food-based supplements like protein, mass gainers, or I guess rarely, not as common, carbohydrate supplements like dextrose or something. That being said, I don't necessarily advocate a mass gainer supplement, at least not one of the commercial ones that you can just, go to the store and buy like one of those like big 12-pound bags. What I actually do is I make my own mass gainer supplement. I'm gonna show you guys in this video just how to do it. Number one, start off, oh God, it's heavy. Start off with some protein because even though it is a mass gainer supplement and the majority of it is going to be carbohydrate based, I do advocate there to be a good foundation of protein. That way you don't have to go and take another, like high intake of protein foods. You don't have to go and gorge on chicken breast. You want your mass gainer to be both a carbohydrate and a protein based supplement. So, go get yourself, I use My Protein's Impact Whey. This is double chocolate. Chocolate brownie is also pretty good, but yeah, I go for that. One of the biggest benefits about building your own mass gainer supplement is because unlike all of the commercial ones, which have whey, casein, all of these like dairy-based things. You can get things like soy. You can get things like hemp. You can get things like brown rice, pea protein. You can make it vegan. And not only is it vegan, but it's also non-dairy. So if you are vegan based on your personal choices, that's great. This is, right for you. And in addition, if you just don't like dairy because you're lactose intolerant or because you may have issues with your skin, dairy can make you break out, as opposed to the regular mass gainer supplements, which are just loaded with dairy products. And this can make you, let's be honest, it's gonna make you fart, it's gonna make you break out, it's gonna make you might not feel that great. So this, I think, is a great option. Next up, carbohydrates. So in addition to water, which you're gonna need as your liquid base to actually make it, smooth and drinkable, I advocate like half a cup or maybe 1 cup of juice. Just tastes great, and it makes it a lot sweeter. And you're lean bulking or you're in the off season, you can go with a little bit more carbohydrates. You can go with a little bit more sugar. The real source of carbohydrates is going to be oats. This is what I advocate. Make sure you cook these. Do not take these raw. I take about 60, 80, maybe 100 grams of oats, cook them, boil them, microwave them, whatever you want to do. And then I stick it in there, blend it up. It might come out a little like thick, depending on how many oats you use, but it'll be like a smoothie. It's not gonna be like a legit like drinkable beverage, but it'll be a nice doable smoothie. And adding to that, fruit. Probably the best thing that you can put into these mass gainer shakes, in my opinion. A fantastic source of carbohydrates. They're healthy, they're loaded with micronutrients, vitamins, minerals. It's gonna taste great. And you're gonna knock down like 2 to 3 servings of fruits and vegetables, which is great because a guy my size needs like 8 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables per day, which is not that easy to get. So this makes it a little bit more simple. You can put a little bit of honey in there if you want it to be extra sweet, and just a little bit more, carbohydrates. And the last thing, which I advocate, which is kind of optional, for some of you guys, you may want this, some of you guys, you may not, fat in the form of peanut butter. So if you guys are out there and you need a little bit more fat, maybe you have a low fat diet naturally, you don't like high fatty foods, you need some fat in your diet, it's good for you. So I advocate maybe 1 to 2 tablespoons of some peanut butter. Another option, which is kind of weird, but I've seen people do this, is 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil. It kind of sounds gross, and some of you guys may out there, you may be cringing, but it mixes up. You don't even taste it. You can't even tell that it's in there. And it's a good way of getting some very quick, very easy fats. But again, how many people out there actually have such a problem, so much difficulty getting fats in their diet? You can also use some avocados, except it's going to make it taste a little bit weird. So I say just go with 1 to 2 tablespoons of peanut butter if you want. Okay, that's great. But let's say that you don't want to go through this whole process. You don't want to have to make this shake every day. And this is very good because it gives you a good amount of carbohydrates, but it's not a crazy amount of carbohydrates. So if you're like me and you're lean bulking on 300 to 400 calorie surplus, this is perfect. However, if you're a legit hard gainer and you need like 700, 800, 900 calorie, 1,000 calorie surplus on top of your maintenance, this might not be enough unless you want to have like 200 grams of oats, which that's not going to taste very good. So you probably want to go with a standard, commercial mass or whatever you want to call it, weight gainer supplement. But choosing the best one is, sometimes it can be a little complicated or controversial. So what I've done is I'm going to throw up on the screen. I took some of the most popular supplement companies out there. I took their number one most popular weight gainer, mass gainer supplement from each company, and then I took all the analytics, the carbs, the macros, the dollar values, the price, and I threw it all in here, and that way you guys can tell exactly, based on this, which one is right for you. But to give you a little bit of clarification, I always advocate going for something which is, relatively high in calories because it is a mass gainer, so obviously, you need some calories. I advocate going for something very high in protein because, like I said, you want this to be a mass gainer, but it should be pretty much a protein supplement with additional carbohydrates thrown in. If there's low protein, you're gonna have to go get it from external sources. You're gonna have to take an additional protein supplement. You're gonna have to eat chicken all day. We do not want that. You want there to be a good amount of carbohydrates. You want there to be minimized intake of fat. Sugar is another thing because if we're getting a lot of carbohydrates, but a lot of those carbohydrates are coming from, crappy, basic, simple sugars, then it may not be the best for you in terms of performance, in terms of overall health. So you want to minimize your sugar intake. Luckily, all of these are pretty low, under 10 grams of sugar, single digits. And the last thing you have to look at is the actual price that you're paying. In this case, I just went to bodybuilding.com, looked at the actual dollars per 100 grams of whatever powder you are looking at. This is no tax, no shipping and handling. This is the basic uniform prices across the board for all these supplements. Ideally, you want one which is good in terms of its macronutrients, high protein, decent amount of carbohydrates, low sugar, low fat, and at the same time, one which is, at a reasonable price. And in my opinion, I really do advocate my protein. Now, for full clarification, full disclosure, they do sponsor me. So, there is obviously some level of personal bias, but at the same time, it's kind of the chicken or the egg, paradox or phenomenon. It's like, which one came first? you know, am I only saying that they're good because they sponsor me, or did I originally go and decide to work with this company because I've seen their products and I think that it's good? So it's kind of like, you know, which one came first? I think it's obviously option B, because I would not have worked with the company unless I could, you know, comfortably stand behind their products, such as in the case here, and also they're pretty damn cheap. In fact, if you use my discount code VIT20 for the USA website or VIT10 for the UK website, this product actually becomes the cheapest in this entire lineup. And if you guys are interested, I will leave some links down in the description box below along with the discount codes I mentioned. But again, whatever works for you guys. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you take this because some guy on YouTube told you to, and you guys are like sheep or like robots and you do exactly as I tell you. No, use the methods that I've described in this video. Either make your own mass gainer supplement with, you know, just some whey protein, or if you do decide to buy one, look at the graph that I made, the chart, and see the metrics, the quantitative, you know, analysis that I'm doing, and apply that yourself to a supplement of your choosing and see, is it worth buying? Is it worth buying more than the other one? You know, choose for yourself. I'm not here to tell you what to think, I'm just here to tell you how to think. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was a quick little informative video because a lot of you guys have been asking me questions about this, so hopefully we can put this topic to rest. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.